Peace and harmony, my rosebuds. So today first of all, I'm so thankful for the 1,000 subscribers that I have. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can we give a clap for that? Because wow, it's been a long time coming. Apparently y'all like my content and I appreciate it. And I'm going to keep going and going because y'all appreciate the videos that I create, and I appreciate your support because it motivates me to keep going. So today I decided that I'm gonna start a series on how to be a better woman. And this series was birthed by it was birthed by me, I guess, but the idea came from watching one of my favorite YouTubers. Her name is The Crimson Cure. If you don't know who she is, I advise you to go look her up right now. When I tell you, she motivates me on so many levels on how to be a better woman, not only for myself, but my family, my future family, and my community. And I just love her rawness and her realness and her humor as well. But I just love her content, and it motivated me to do a series on how to be a better woman using the 10 life value system, or the lost value system, which I will upload on my YouTube channel what that looks like, and then you can look that up. And again, shout out to The Crimson Cure. Got to give credit where credit is due. And because of that, you know, she has woken something up inside of me that I think women should really take another look at. And it's really how we value ourselves as women and how we can become a better woman. And we have to do that by first having a foundation and a blueprint to follow. And if we don't have that, a lot of women, what we see now, they're in this kind of Jezebel spirit, or this promiscuity culture, so to speak. And a lot of women think that having sex with multiple men and just doing belligerent things is a way for them to find their self-worth and their identity. And I'm here to tell you that it's another way to go about it, and we're gonna talk about it. So what I pretty much be doing is breaking down the 10 life values, and we're gonna start with spiritual first. So I want y'all to really understand and understand that, first of all, y'all need a pen and paper. And I need y'all to understand that this is just my perspective and what I receive. And then these are the downloads that I get while maybe watching videos or reading certain things, or even just attending certain classes. Because a lot of y'all know that on my channel, I'm a doula. And I believe in holistic health all the way across the board. And a lot of y'all know that I do spiritual work, and y'all know I don't move without it. So and that's we're gonna jump into that and try not to get ahead. But as a woman starting off, you need to be, the first life value system is spiritual. And this is something that women have got to understand in totality, what that is and why it's important. And we're gonna dive right into it. So excuse me, sorry y'all, I was eating before I started talking. But before I begin, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like the video, make sure you comment below if you have any things that you want me to talk about, discuss, or if you just want to share your thoughts and perspective, or if you want to leave a rose. I'm always open to what others have to say, you know, as long as it's respectful. If it's not, then I ain't stunning it. But anyways, one of the things that women struggle with the most is their identity. And it's gonna sound kind of off-putting, like, what does this have to do with being a better woman? But we have to, as women, address this issue, because this issue will let us know more about ourselves and where we come from as, you know, the daughters to our mothers. And then it helps us to understand our mothers and the relationship they have with their mom. And because of that, you know, a lot of women, we get older and we try to be the opposite of what we seen our moms to be, but whole time we're going to end up like them, because for one, we don't study our moms like that in a way of not judging her. A lot of times we look at our moms as, you know, resentful. We look at her as, You know, sometimes we look at our moms as being better than her, and when we do that without understanding in full circle, in totality, you know, her story. And that's where we start with this. You know, you have to address that mom to daughter wound, not womb. You got to understand that too. But we have to understand, and understand why our mama-daughter relationship is very, very important. Because if we don't understand that, then we're not going to understand ourselves in totality, or the direction of where we're even going when it comes to actually healing. And that's something that I had to learn, and I had to learn it wholeheartedly, and I had to learn it the hard way. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not pretty. It's not, you know, rainbows. It's a lot of tears, and it's a lot of humility that comes out of that. So you know, you're gonna have to put your big girl drawers on, so to speak. But when you learn, or when you can connect the dots between why your mother raised you the way that she did, why you seen the things that you seen growing up, and you know how that affects her even now as an adult, and we look at our mom, we have to start asking our parents, or start asking our moms questions, and not coming at her at a place of judgment. And we have to, you know, get to really know our mom, and really get to know where she got this ideologies from, where she got this lifestyle from. Like, really understand that, because I'm learning that a lot of women, especially women who have children, they be wanting all these types of help for their child, but yet they have yet to look in the mirror and look at themselves. And us as women, biologically, we're spiritual. We are the closest thing to God. We literally birth nations. Children literally, nations, the next generation literally comes from us. So in totality, what we do with ourselves and our mom, and the spiritual connection that we have with God, is literally everything. Because if we don't have a relationship with God, we are not going to understand who we are, and we're not going to know how to be a better woman. And that's something that we really need to talk about. Because one thing, I grew up in a church. I'm not a Christian. I'm spiritual. I read from the Quran, the Bible, even just other self-help books. You know, I'm all about truth, because I believe that God speaks in all truths, no matter the religion, who it's from. Like, I feel like God is limitless, you know, and that lets me know that I'm limitless to my belief. So although I have like different morals and principles, but God in totality to me is limitless, and God has no specific truth in just one religion. You know, God speaks to people in various ways. So spirituality to me kind of looks like omnism, so so to speak. So I just wanted to kind of, you know, share that with y'all. So, and since we're talking about spirituality, and I got my handy book right here just to kind of keep me on track, but make sure you're writing this down, taking notes. Take what resonates, and then what don't, if it don't apply, let it fly. But spirituality, knowing how to connect with yourself on a spiritual level, is important. Because like I said, us as women, we're spiritual first. We have to understand that what we do in our essence as women, our femininity, our creativity, our just nurturing spirit, our hospitality, the ability to bring communities together, and that, like, men help build the community, women help bring the community together. That's why women and men are needed. You know, men literally handle the hard stuff, you know, and women being in tune with their spiritual self and their divinity is so important. Because us as women, this is why I preach all the time about being a stay-at-home mom, or if you don't want to be a stay-at-home mom, really knowing your place in your family dynamic, in your relationship dynamic, because women are literally the spiritual powerhouse in a family foundation. And I'm gonna show you something. This is a book right here. It's called Biblical Courtship Program, and in this book it talks about the office of a woman and the office of a wife, and then the office of a husband. And I love this because when it talks about the role of a wife, which I'm gonna read to y'all, hold on, let me find it. The role of a wife, and I want y'all to listen to it. And this is why your spirit, you knowing who you are as a woman, and knowing that your spiritual relationship with yourself and God, it should be numero uno. It should be number one. It really should be number one. Okay, so we are in the divine office of wife. In essence, a godly wife's power resides in her ability to create a nurturing and loving environment, foster spiritual growth, and positively impact the lives of her family members and the community around her. Like I said before, women have the power to bring communities together. For example, when we were all younger, we know that our grandparents' house is grandpa and granny, but for whatever reason, we'd be like, I want to go to granny house, because the essence that a woman brings to our house, like, that's the environment that she creates. That's that home feeling that she creates. You know, if it was not for the woman, would we really be trying to go to grandpa's house? Just not even trying to be like, you know, against men and what they do or downplay anything that they do, but we appreciate it. But it's something about that womanly essence, that divinity that a woman has, that brings people together. And you got to start thinking to yourself as a woman, am I bringing in love, nurturing, and am I creating an environment with my family and my community that is nurturing and loving, and it's a safe space? Or am I creating an environment that is full of chaos, trauma, and just lack of love and support? When you can really be real with yourself, look yourself in the mirror and really answer that question, it will literally tell you everything that you need to know about your spiritual relationship with yourself and with God. You have got to incorporate God in everything that you do. And that's not to be all religious or whatever, but whether you believe in Ifa, whether you believe in Jesus Christ, whether you believe in Baba, like all this stuff, like the Orishas, whatever it is that you believe in, honey, you have to have that spiritual essence, that femininity, that divinity inside of you. If you do not have that, you are going to continue to struggle with your identity as a woman, your femininity as a woman. And I'm trying to tell y'all, I have done it. Okay, and I grew up in a church. So I understand why it's important to pray, talk to God. I understand that. I've always understood that. Every part of my life, I've always went to God. Even in the times where I feel like I didn't have the best relationship with God, I've always talked to God. And that was instilled in me by my nana. You know, my nana don't play that. My family on my dad's side is geeky. Everybody is very spiritual. It's definitely a difference between my mother and my dad's side of the family, because my dad's side of the family, even though they're Christian, they are very, very spiritual. Everything they move with a certain essence, you know, and that's that God-like essence. So because you just know that they have their spiritual hygiene up to par. They go to church, they do Bible study, you know, they're always constantly circulating that spiritual energy, you know. So I'm grateful for that. That's a part of me. But I just wanted to share that, and this part too, because we have to understand this, especially for women who want to have a family. You have got to understand your role as a wife, as a woman, as a mother. All of it resides in your spirituality, your spiritual routines, hygienes, whatever that looks like to you. You are, let me read this. Where is it? Hold on, give me 1 second. Hold on, where is it? Because I need, oh, here it is. This talks about her partnership and companionship with her husband. Her companionship is a source of solace, joy, and spiritual growth. Together they pray, worship, and navigate life's twists and turns, drawing strength from their shared faith in God. It's another part I wanted to show you. I want to read to y'all. Hold on. Oh, that might have been the part. Hold on, y'all. I might have oh, that was it. Now I also want to read this too. In this partnership, her role is not subservient but complementary, bringing her unique strengths and qualities to the marriage. Her role is imbued with love, devotion, and a profound sense of purpose. As a partner, the wife is called to be the cornerstone of her husband's life, offering support, encouragement, and unwavering love. Love without a doubt. Okay? But this one in whole, though, a godly wife's power resides in her ability to create a nurturing and loving environment, foster spiritual growth, and positively impact the lives of her family members and the community around you. A woman is in charge. This is why when you go to your granny house during the holidays, you know, we're going to granny house. We won't ever say the grandparents' house. We're going to granny house, because the woman makes the home. Just like they ask the question, what you bring to the table, honey, what kind of table is it? You know what I'm saying? We as women have to understand that in totality, because it's like what a man simply asking is like, pretty much, if we want to keep it on the table part, how can you decorate this table? How can you keep this table looking nice? What qualities do you have? What resources do you have as a woman to help keep this table firm, sustainable, like keep it decorative? You know, a woman's touch is like no others, and we as women have got to understand that in totality. You cannot move and attract the men that you want because you don't know what your spirit is like. You are not in tune with your spirit. So it's hard for you. So you're going to always be struggling. You're going to always be struggling to find you a connection that's for you, because you don't understand how your spirit moves. You don't understand what's taking you away from your spirit. Everything that you do is rebellious to your spirit, because you don't know who you are. You don't sit in stillness. You don't meditate. You don't read the Bible, the Quran, or whatever it is. You don't connect with God. You don't ground yourself. You don't do sound healing. You don't holistically, you don't take care of yourself. You don't. And you have to start asking yourself as a woman, what does this look like to me? What does my relationship with God look like? Like, you have to ask yourself that. When you can identify how your relationship is with God, it'll help you identify yourself as a woman, as the feminine woman. Because when you start reading, and I highly recommend, and this is what happened every time I feel like I'm not aligned with myself, I'm imbalanced, I always go back to reading Proverbs. If you're a woman and you're starting out, please read Proverbs. I'm telling you, every time I read Proverbs, I always feel, it's like I always feel like I'm getting back into center. Like, that's the start of reminding me to stay balanced, this is the type of woman that I am. I'm a godly woman. That's the type of one I'm a goddess. That's it. I walk with God. I talk like God. I love like God. I love God. And God loves me. And because of that, God blesses me faithfully. So, yes, when it comes to the 10 life value system, spiritual is the first one, because a lot of women are not attracting the right man because he ain't spiritual. And if he ain't spiritual, you ain't spiritual. You are what you attract. Your partner is a direct reflection of you. All right? Do we understand that? Okay? And if you don't have your spiritual relationship with God, you have to start asking yourself, what does that look like? And to help you even further, to go deeper, you got to ask yourself, what will that look like for my family foundation? As a woman, you want a family. How are you going to teach your child to go to God when they're struggling? How are you going to teach your child what God is, the concept of God? How are you and your husband going to instill that in your family? And it starts with you, because although men are spiritual and they're godly, our insight as a woman it's a little more powerful than theirs. That's why when they say when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing, because women are the closest thing to God. We are literally birthing God's children, so that makes us the closest thing to God on its own. You as women, you have to understand your strength. You have to understand what you're made of and what you're designed to do. You got to understand how powerful you are. And if you don't understand that, you're going to struggle. A lot of these young girls are struggling. My aunt had to tell me and my sister, you know, because my daughter was acting out and everything. And it wasn't like she not going to church or anything. But, you know, I have been a little, at one point, with me working in so much, I'm not at home as much as I want to be. So, you know, kids tend to act out when they're not receiving certain attention. So she was just misbehaving. And, you know, my aunt had to tell us, you know, y'all have to teach your child whenever they're feeling some type of way, whenever they're going through some things and they're not able to express it to a way that, you know, we understand it. You got to teach your child to go to God. You know, teaching children to go to God. And me and my daughter today, before I left to go start working and stuff, you know, she was sad. She be sad when I have to leave, because I do believe I'll be gone for a little bit. So, you know, I was reiterating to her, like, you know, mommy is only working hard so we can do such and such and get such and such, and I don't want you to feel some type of way. Really, I really want you to understand that mommy loves you and I'm always here for you. And I was telling her, what do you do when you always feel alone, or you feel like, you know, nobody's listening to you? You know, she told me, she said, talk to God. I said, that made me feel so good. Oh, I love that. Like, yes, girl, yes. Lean on it, okay? Lean on God for sure. And to go back to that, how do you want your family to get in tune with their spirit, their spirituality? You know, you gotta, is that doing daily devotion? Is that doing prayer together, meditation? But you only will know what that is when you start doing it yourself. Everything always goes back to self at the end of the day. You understand? Okay, so we got to start looking at that in totality. Not just about, it's about you and your relationship with God, but you got to think about, if I'm creating this for myself, this is what I will be teaching my child. We have got to start teaching our children about God and reminding them that if they're going through things, or there are times where I feel like me as their parent, I'm not listening or I'm not understanding, I need you to go talk to God. I don't need you to go out there and try and go in the streets and fight other kids and be mean and be disrespectful to other people. We have got to start teaching our children to have more respect for themselves, and having more morals, values, just customs. Like, we have got to teach our children to go back to God whenever they feel incomplete. You know, whenever they're not understanding what they're going through themselves, we need to teach them to go back to God. Always do that. So, yeah, I think I went over spiritual routine. You know, that's whether that spiritual routine, that's whether you practice talking, you should practice talking to God every day. But your spiritual routine, I should say, is more of so, do you do, how many, if you do spiritual baths, how many spiritual baths do you do a week? If you do like how they had Bible study, do you do like a prayer study where you're praying and you're lighting candles? Like, what rituals are you doing on a daily basis or a weekly basis or even a monthly basis, to where you're always in tune with your spirit? Even if you're trying to go deep within your spirit, figure out what works for you in it. And let me tell you, it's okay if you start something and you're like, okay, that don't really work for me, let me go somewhere else. And it's okay if that don't work out and you got to go to something else. Either way, figure it out. Okay, figure out how to understand your body, figure out how to listen to your spirit, your mind, and your body. Know the difference. Okay, learn the difference in totality so that you can understand that, oh, this is me right here. And then when you get into situations, you understand that, oh, that's that person and what they're feeling. And you can understand if something is affecting your energy and your spirit, that you can do away with it and get yourself back into alignment. That's all that is. How can you keep yourself balanced? And when you think about that as a woman in your position as a wife and raising a family foundation, what are you doing spiritually that keeps the house in order, that keeps the house in spiritual balance? That's what you should be thinking about as a woman when we're talking about how to be a better woman, starting with the 10 life value system. The first one is spiritual. What are you doing to make sure that you are balanced, your household is balanced? And how do you continue to do that on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis? Whatever it is, you need to figure it out, because if you do not, as a woman, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle. Things are always going to be chaotic because you don't have a grip on your relationship with God, and you don't know your spirit. You don't know your soul. You don't know what your soul wants. You don't know when your soul is telling you to stop. You don't know. And you gotta know. I'm telling you. And this is important, because it says women, we bring everything together. We bring the community together. We bring the household together. The man builds it up, da 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 da, but we're the ones that bring the family in. And then we birthed it out. And then we have generations who love each other and they continue to do it. So it's a continuous cycle. You gotta realize what are traditions, what are spiritual things that you can instill in your child, to know that when they get older and they decide to have their own family, that they don't stray away from this foundation, so that we can have better children out here. Because when I tell y'all, these kids out here are mean. They mean as a snake. I'm telling you, we gotta do better as women. And I'm holding women accountable, because it starts with us. It starts with us. So if this video resonated, make sure you drop a rose. If you have any comments, perspectives, please don't hesitate to comment below. If it's respectful, I'll comment back. If it ain't, whatever. But you know, I just really wanted to show this or talk about this, because this is something that us as women, we have gone away from, and it's important that we go back to it now, like yesterday, you know, so we can create better children, a better family dynamic, and that we can continue to build our families up, because everything starts with our essence. And if we don't know it, then how we gonna do what we need to do? Okay, I'm a proud woman. Okay, y'all have a nice day.